Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of NASCAR Underdogs Lennie Pond. Lennie Wayne Pond was a former NASCAR Cup Series driver who competed from 1969 through 1989. Growing up in Virginia, where he would live his entire life, born August 11, 1940. Pond first began his racing career in the mid-1950s, racing modifieds on dirt tracks, before working his way up to asphalt tracks, then later on late model tracks. By 1969, Pond was able to make his NASCAR Grand National, now Cup Series debut, driving a number 44 Chevrolet for Richard Giotti at Rockingham in the fall, starting 38th and finishing 34th after a blown engine ended his race early on lap 73. Pond returned the following season in 1970 to the NASCAR Cup Series to make another start, this time in Atlanta in the spring, behind the wheel of a number 65 Chevrolet owned by Joe Phipps, starting 37th and finishing 34th after a mechanical failure ended his race early on lap 88. After not making any Cup Series starts in 1971 or 72, in 1973, Lennie Pond burst on the NASCAR Cup Series scene, making 23 starts behind the wheel of a number 54 Master Chevy Sales Chevrolet owned by Ronnie Elder. Together, they had several strong runs throughout the season. Pond's best start was 5th at Martinsville in the fall, and his best finish was 4th at Bristol in the summer. Overall, in 23 starts, they scored 1 top 5 and 9 top 10s, finishing 23rd in final Cup Series point standings. Lennie also was named 1973 NASCAR Cup Series Rookie of the Year. For the 1974 NASCAR Cup Series season, Pond would return to the Ronnie Elder-owned number 54 Master Chevy Sales Chevrolet. Charlton Hogwood served as Pond's crew chief for the 1974 season. Again, Lennie had a pretty solid season in 74. His best start was 3rd at Nashville in the spring, and his best finish was 4th at Richmond in the spring. Lennie's results continued to improve this season. Overall, in 22 starts, he scored 5 top 5s and 11 top 10s, finishing 18th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. In 1975, Lennie Pond would reprise his role as driver of Ronnie Elder's number 54 Master Chevy Sales Chevrolet, once again making 22 starts throughout the Cup Series season. Lennie and the number 54 team had a pretty difficult majority of the 1975 season. Now, he didn't qualify worse than 12th all season, though in 22 starts he had 13 DNFs. Finally, in the final 5 races of the season, they strung together 5 straight finishes of 6th or better. Pond's best start was 2nd at Charlotte in the spring, and his best finish was 2nd 3 times at both Richmond races, then Bristol in the fall. Overall, in 22 starts, he scored 6 top 5s and 9 top 10s, finishing 21st in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. After several seasons of only running a little over 2/3 of the schedule, in 1976, Lennie Pond ran his first full NASCAR Cup Series season, still behind the wheel of Ronnie Elder's number 54 Pepsi-Cola Chevrolet. This season was a very solid one for Pond, spending 13 weeks inside the top 5 and all 30 weeks inside the top 10 in Cup Series point standings. Pond's best start was 4th in Michigan in the late summer, and his best finish was 2nd twice at Rockingham and Ontario in the fall. Overall, Pond scored 10 top 5s and 19 top 10s, finishing 5th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. This would end up being his career best points finish that he would have in his entire NASCAR career. Even though 76 was a solid season, Pepsi left the team as sponsor at the end of the 1976 season. The 1977 NASCAR Cup Series season only saw Lennie and the Ronnie Elder number 54 team make 14 starts. Without solid sponsorship, the team not only ran just half the races in 77, but also had 8 DNFs. Pond's best start was 8th at Martinsville in the spring, and his best finish was 4th twice at Martinsville and Charlotte in the spring. Overall, in 14 starts, Pond scored 4 top 5s and 6 top 10s, finishing 30th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. The following season, in 1978, Harry Ranier purchased the number 54 Ronnie Elder-owned race team. Lennie Pond remained the number 54 Wynn Incorporated Oldsmobile and Chevrolet driver. Herb Nabb served as the number 54 team's crew chief in 1978. They did D&Q their first attempt of the season at Riverside. 1978 would end up being Lennie Pond's career best season, winning several poles and scoring his first and only career Cup Series victory, spending 4 weeks inside the top 5 and 27 weeks inside the top 10 in point standings throughout the season. His best start was 1st 5 times at both Martinsville and Nashville races, then Bristol in the late summer. His best finish was 1st at Talladega in the summer. This was his first and only career NASCAR Cup Series victory. Overall scoring 5 poles, 1 win, 11 top 5s, and 19 top 10s, finishing 7th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Even with all the success that Pond found with the now Harry Ranier-owned race team, Lennie still was released in favor of Buddy Baker for 1979. Meaning, for Pond in 1979, he was left to take whatever rides were available. Since the Ranier Racing team switched the number 54 to the number 28, Lennie was still able to use the number 54, which he did as he made his first 2 starts of the season in Al Rudd's Oldsmobile. His best start was 12th, and his best finish was 14th, both coming at Richmond in the spring. Next, he made 1 start in Henley Gray's number 19 Chevrolet at Darlington in the spring, then made another 4 starts near the end of the season for Henley Gray. In the number 19, Pond's best start was 11th at Richmond in the fall, and his best finish was 11th at Darlington in the spring. The remaining 8 starts Lennie would make was in Kenny Childers' number 12 Chevrolets and Oldsmobiles. In that number 12, Lennie's best start was 6th at Martinsville in the spring, and his best finish was 9th twice at Dover and Charlotte in the spring. Overall, in 15 starts, Pond scored 2 top 10s, finishing 29th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. A new decade, the 1980s, though in 1980 it was more the same for Lennie Pond, just making what starts he could find with what sponsorship he could put together. Making 4 starts for 4 different teams throughout the first half of the 1980 Cup Series season, making 2 starts for Ray Mock Enterprises number 75 Buicks and Chevrolets. Pond's best start was 12th, and his best finish was 9th, both coming at Daytona in the spring. Next, Lennie made the first 2 starts of 13 total starts he would make in Jim Testa's number 68 Kings Mountain Truck Plaza Chevrolets and Oldsmobiles. His best run in those first 2 starts was the 7th place start and a 4th place finish, both coming at Talladega in the spring. For the World 600 in Charlotte, Pond returned to the number 12 Chevrolet for Kenny Childers, starting 14th and finishing 41st, after a suspension issue ended his race early on lap 12. Lennie was behind the wheel of D.K. Ulrich's 440 Buick for the summer race at Daytona, starting 26th and finishing 11th. Pond's final 11 starts of the 1980 season all came in Jim Testa's number 68. His best start was 3rd at North Wilkesboro in the fall, and his best finish was also 3rd at Richmond in the fall. Overall, in 17 Cup Series starts, Pond scored 2 top 5s and 7 top 10s, finishing 30th in final Cup Series point standings. Then in 1981, Lennie would have returned to the number 68 team owned by Jim Testa, though he would only make 2 starts for Testa before Lennie Pond purchased the number 68, the 5 racers J.D. Stacy Buick. Pond would make 12 starts throughout the 1981 season. His best start was 11th at Talladega in the summer, and his best finish was 11th twice at Richmond in the spring and Daytona in the summer. Also, Lennie made a one-off start in Cecil Gordon's number 24 Buick at Charlotte in the spring, starting 30th and finishing 11th. Once again, for the 1982 NASCAR Cup Series season, Lennie Pond made 13 starts for 2 different teams, 10 for Cecil Gordon's number 24 Buick. Pond's best start was 23rd at Talladega in the spring, and his best finish was 10th at Darlington in the spring. Then Pond made 3 starts in a number 48 Chevrolet for James Hilton. Lennie's best start was 26th, and his best finish was 9th, both coming at Rockingham in the fall. Overall, in 13 starts, Pond scored 2 top 10s. 1983 was pretty much very similar to 82 for Lennie Pond, who again made 10 starts spread over 4 different teams throughout the season. 4 in the number 48 for James Hilton, 3 in Tom Beck's number 51, 2 in Billy Matthews' number 42, and 1 in the number 52 for Jimmy Means. His best start was 20th in the Martinsville in the spring for James Hilton. Pond's best finish was 8th at Rockingham in the spring for Billy Matthews. Overall, in 10 starts, Pond scored 2 top 10s. The 1984 NASCAR Cup Series season saw Lennie Pond become one of McClure Motorsports' first ever drivers, when he made the first 4 starts of the 84 season for the team. Pond's best start was 19th at Rockingham in the spring, and his best finish in the number 4 was 13th at Daytona in the spring. For the spring Darlington race, Lennie made a one-off start in the number 78 Buick owned by Jim Testa, starting 22nd and finishing 38th after he blew his engine on lap 9. Then for the final 7 starts of the 84 season, Pond was behind the wheel of Dave Marcus's number 71 Oldsmobile. His best start was 19th at Rockingham in the fall, and his best finish was 9th at Martinsville in the fall. Overall, in 12 starts, he scored 2 top 10s. Lennie Pond's final season, in which he would make more than one start in a season, would be 1985, when he would make 5 starts for James Hilton's number 48 and 49. Chevrolet. In the number 48, Pond's best start was 15th, and his best finish was 13th, both coming at Richmond in the spring. Then Lennie made 7 starts in Roger Hamby's number 17 Chevrolet. His best start was 23rd at Richmond in the early summer. His best finish was 13th at Pocono in the summer. By the 1988 season, Pond was only making attempts at his home track, Richmond Raceway, qualifying for the spring race, starting 31st and finishing 22nd in a number 22 Chevrolet owned by Roger Hamby. Lennie Pond's final NASCAR Cup Series start was also at Richmond in the fall of 1989, behind the wheel of Junie Donlavey's number 90 Ford, starting 25th and finishing 11th. Lennie would go on to become a car salesman at a Chevrolet dealership in Chester, Virginia, following his retirement from racing. Pond would lose his battle with cancer on February 10th, 2016. So, in 234 NASCAR Cup Series starts, Lennie Pond scored 5 poles, 1 win, 39 top 5s, and 88 top 10s, with the best points finish of 5th in 1976. Thanks for watching, everyone, and take care.